In the last lecture, we have covered a list of iPad widgets, some of the commonly used widgets that you can utilize to build interactive components for your map. Today, we're going to talk about iPad widget event. So in that way, you can design interactive widget to trigger some events so that you can get the user input and then do something basically under the hood, and then you can return the result back to the map or print out some result to the user. And this is super powerful, but it's also very important. And make sure you master the concepts. I have the examples here added to this notebook, so make sure you get the latest notebook from the website, or you can just use Geekpool to put the latest version to your computer. So now I'm going to switch back to my computer here, and I'm going to show you how to get started. So if you scroll down all the way to the iPad widget event, going to get started from here. You can check out the iPad widget website. So if you click the link, it should take you to here. And there are some of the examples that you can take a look. I actually already have some example here in the notebook, so you don't actually need the website, but you can certainly read more information from the website. So let's get started. First, we're going to import our iPad widget. We also need to have this display function from the IPython display module, because last lecture we covered the output widget. So as I mentioned, output widget is super powerful, but in order to have something displayed within the output widget, if it is text, you can use the print function. But if there's other widget, then you need to use the display function within the widget so they can show them within the output widget. So first, let's create a button and then also an output widget. Then we want to display both of them together. After that, we are going to use this one called button event. So for all the iPad widget, they have this called observe event. We cover that later, and only the button has this on click rather than observe, because button is stateless. That means when you are clicking on the button, it's going to do something. But for other widgets, they have to observe because there is a state. For example, if this checked or if it's selected, that means it has a state, but button doesn't have that. So this is the only exception. Then make sure you understand, if you're going to have a button in your widget, then you need to use the on-click event. For anything else, we're going to use the observe event. So let's talk about this button event first. Look at it like this. So we're going to create a button, create the output widget, and then display both of them. Right now, you only see the button here. The output widget is actually displayed beneath, but it doesn't show up yet because right now the output widget doesn't have anything yet. And then we're going to have this on-click function. This on-click, basically, when you click on the button, it's going to do something. So what you're going to do is going to be this function. So the function is defined here. That means with output, every time you're going to basically write some text to the output. So take a look right now. If I click this button, you see one, or maybe this is because of right now you see double click. This is actually abnormal. It's because of some of the bug with VS Code. So let me maybe close this one altogether, reopen it. It should be, the bug should be gone. Sometimes you might encounter this one in your VS Code. So just make sure that you close them and then restart from scratch. So let me go up here, try again. Okay, I'm gonna run this one again. So click. You see, right now it's basically every time you click, it's going to print some text onto the output widget. So this is the button. This is the output widget. So you can clearly see, if you have a widget, you can basically, when you click on the widget, it's going to trigger some event. So this is the event that has been triggered. You can do whatever you want here. You can, for example, generate a random number, or you can print out some text, or you can have something else. It's up to you what you want to do. So if you only want to show once, you can certainly just within here output widget dot clear output. So in that way, you only have one, so everything will be clear before it displays the new text. So in this case, it's always going to be the same one. It looks like there's no change, but actually it's removing the existing one, clear the output, and then print out the new one. So this is why it looks like this. Okay, so this is for button. Like I said, button use on-click function. For anything else, use the observe function. So let's look at this one. So for this example, we're going to have the in slider. So the value going to range from 0 all the way to 100. So when I slide my number, you can certainly see it's changing. You can read the number from here, but sometimes if you need, for example, if you have a widget allow the user to select, for example, a number, and then you want to grab the number passing into the program, then you can actually monitor the event. So in this case, we're going to use the observe function, and then within here, this is the function that we're going to observe. Also, the names equal to value means what do you want to observe, right? So because when we are sliding this slider here, the value change. So basically, this is a value attribute. For example, if I create a new code block and then in range stock value, right? So you can always read the value from this slider. So when the slider, the value change, you're going to do something. And what you're going to do something is dictated by this function. So this function is going to say on value change and then change. And then with the output too. So basically you have another output widget here. And it's going to clear the output first. Weight equal to 2 means if there's something new content going to put on the output widget, it will wait until you are ready because sometimes you might have some long running computations. You don't want to clear the output right away. You want to wait until there's something ready to be sent to the output widget. Then it's basically some kind of delay effects here. And I'm going to print out so-called the change new. Change new means it's the new value because for every widget, if it change, it can capture both the old value and also the new value. So the new value means basically what the value you want to get from this widget. So right now it's 75. If I drag to another one, it's 35, it's 85. So the output widget can tell you, basically the observe function can tell you what's the old value, what's the new value. So for example here, I can have another one here called print and then change, oops, and double quotes O, it should be able to print both values. So right now, if I run this one again, 70, 70 this is a little bit weird. It's supposed to be, maybe it's right now because I'm just sliding over here, but the old value, if you just have the old value means what's the existing value before it changes to the new value. Because right now I'm sliding, so you can see the value, it's kind of changing. Um, is it the old value? Let me go back to here. There should be some documentation on the website. I don't usually use the O, but it should have some documentation showing you what is the yeah here the old value of the modified trait attribute and the new one and also the name and also the owner of this. So anyway, let's just remove this one and then just say the new value. So because this is what you want to do is to get what the user um, enter from your widget. So we're just going to use this observe function and then define the function, and then from here you can do something. So later, for example, if you have a widget allow the user to select the drop down list or something, anything, you want to grab the value and then you're going to link the value with something else. So what you want to do is you need to define this observe function. When something is changed, you're going to basically do something um, corresponding to the event or corresponding to the value that was um, changed. So the observe function is very important. Make sure you understand, utilize that. And we have more examples later to show you how to actually use that. The next one I want to show you is called linking the widgets, because sometimes if a widget, when something is changed, you want to change to another one. So you can use the JS link function to link those two widgets together. Let me show you what it is. So right now, for example, I have two range slider, first one and the second one. And what we want to do is whatever you change in the first one is going to link to the second one. So in this way, you can have some widget that depends on something else. It doesn't have to be like this exactly the same. You can have a, for example, depends on the, for example, depends on the month that the user selected. You want to have the date range for that particular month. For example, if you select January, you're going to have from 1 to 31. If it is February, you're going to have the value from 1 to 28, for example. So you can certainly have a widget depends on another widget. Then you can just use this JS link. So in that way, for example, you can have a slider and you have another slider like basically link to the zoom level of a map. So in this way, you can have the value and also the map zoom. So in this way, you can change the map zoom level based on the slider. Again, we'll show you more examples later, but this is just essentially creating a label. So the label will be this one, will be the label widget. And then we have the range 1, range 2, these two slider. Then we link this together. So what the value is going to depend on is the value, but for some other widget, it doesn't have necessarily have to be the value. It depends on what you have. So for map, for example, it's the center, the zoom level, or is it something else? Then you can just change this one. So right now, this is just a simple example of showing this together with this value being linked together. All right, so this is about the linking the widget. So there's click function, on click function for button, observe function for any other type of widget, and also you can link different widget values together. The next example to show it is a composite container, because usually you don't just have a simple widget, you have a multiple widget put together as a container. Then you can put it into the map. Then the map can have some interactive graphical user interface, allow the user to make changes. So I'm going to show you step by step how to design some of these widgets, and you can start thinking about what you want to do for your final project, like what kind of widget you want to add to the map so they allow the user to interact. And the first one we're going to create is called a toggle button. A toggle button allows you, for example, when you click, you're going to be selected. You click again, it's going to be unselected. So here we have a toggle button widget. The toggle button widget is different from the button, okay? Like I said, the button is stateless. So if you go back to the first example I just showed you earlier, this one is stateless, so it's going to use the on-click function. The toggle button is actually going to use the observe function, so it's a bit different. Make sure you understand that. So right now, this one has a state because you can see the differences whether that button is enabled or not. So if I click, select it. If I click again, it's disabled. Not disabled, it's unselected. So the tooltip can be here, okay, click me, or it can be anything. We don't have any text. We just have an icon. So the map is just the icon. And then you have a layout. Also, you can set width and height. 38 pixels. That means right now this is 38 pixels. You can make it a much larger. For example, I can do 50 pixel and then also 50 pixel. If you want this one again, right now the button is much smaller. So it's up to you how big you want it to be. I change it to 38 and 30. You can make it a little bit smaller. For example, 30 and 30, but it may not show the entire one. So you can see here, right now this is 30 by 30. It's a little bit small. And also on the right here, the upper part and also on the right part is a little bit smaller. So I want to maybe change to just to 38 and 38. Okay. So once you have this, now we have this button. You can also change the style. By default, right now it's just a gray color. But if you want something else, for example, success, it's going to be green color like this. So you can change the color style. It can be info. That means you'll be just blue color like this. Okay. So if you want to change it, if you don't have anything, you just by default gray color, something like this. So this is just a single toggle button. Right now, the button just change uh, being highlighted, grayed out or not, depends on whether it's being selected. But it doesn't do anything yet because we haven't designed an event yet. Next one I'm going to show you is called drop down list. We already covered this one in the previous lecture. So for this one, I want to show you the example is basically when the user select from the drop down list, it's going to change the base map. So how do you design the drop down list? It's using the iPad widget drop down, and you're going to have an option. So the option will be a list of options, and the value means the default value, what default value you want to use for this drop down list. And then the description will be the one, the text here on the upper left corner here, and also the style description width equal to initial. That means you don't want to have any space at the beginning. Otherwise, you're going to have some empty space, a white space at the beginning. So you'll be basically indenting a little bit to the right. If you use this description width equal to initial, then you will not have any white spaces at the beginning. Then you can also specify the layout, the width and the height, because later we're going to have a one single composite widget. So you want to make sure they all use the same height because this is 38 pixel, this is 38 pixel, so they will align pretty well together. Right now, it doesn't do anything yet. This is just a widget. There's no action yet because we haven't designed an observe function yet. And the last one we add is called the button widget. So this is the same type that I showed you at the first example. Is just a button. So the button is stateless. So if you click, right, you don't really see any differences, something like this. And so when you design a button and the icon, we use the times, basically this red cross here. Also going to use the same size, 38 pixel by 38 pixel. Okay, so we have the toggle button, we have a drop down list, we also have a button. Now we can put all of them together using this called horizontal widgets or H box. And then inside you put a list. So basically what you want to put is a horizontal box. Let's just take a look at this one. So this is the final outcome, the composite widget by putting them all together because they all have the same height, 38 pixels, 38 pixel and also 38 pixels. So this looks pretty nice. You can also use the vertical widget. That means they're going to arrange vertically. It doesn't look good because right now they don't have the same width. So for this case, it's better to just use the horizontal, but I'm just going to show you. Sometimes you're going to have a mix of horizontal box or a vertical box. And even inside the horizontal box, you can actually have multiple box together. You can inside you can have a vertical box. So you can have a box of box if it is really needed. So you can have nested widgets all together if this is something you want. Okay, so we have finished the design. So you can think about if you want to add some widget to the map, you first finish the design, then you think about what action do you want to link to each widget, right? So for this button, I'm just going to, for example, when I click this button, it's going to be hide the other two buttons. When I click again, it's going to show you all the buttons. And for the drop-down list, if I select a drop-down list, it should change the base map for your map. And for the last one, this close button. So if I close it, click on that, it should just remove this widget entirely. So this is what we want to do, and let's see how we can get it done. In order to do that, first let's design the observe function. As I mentioned, the first button here, this one is a toggle button. So the toggle button means if you click on that, it's going to do something. If you unclick again, it's going to true or false. So what we're doing here is going to observe this function, and then we're going to observe whether it's being selected or not. So this is the name of the function. So all the IPyWidget function is kind of using the same style. So it's going to be the name of the function, and then parentheses change, and then you can actually get the value. So that means change new. Let's look at this toggle button first. I'm just going to show you what it is. Okay. So because here we have the toggle button right now, this is unselected. So if you check the toggle dot value, it should be TOGG. Okay, this typo TOGGLE. So you see here right now it's false. If I click again, you can see it's being highlighted. If you run this value again, it's true. So that means if change new means if it's either true or false. So if it is true, I'm going to have the children. So basically this horizontal box, the children, because these are all the children, so we have 3 widgets. So that means if that button is selected, I'm going to have show all of the widget. Else, I'm just going to show one widget, so just this button. So essentially, it's going to hide these two, and it's very powerful. So take a look. If I run this function, now it has been observing this, and let's display this. Earlier, when we click, it doesn't do anything, but now take a look. Look at this. It's hiding the widget. If I click again, it's going to show again. So this is what this one is about. So you can basically set the chosen to just the toggle button itself, or you can show all the widget. This is super cool. So you don't really need JavaScript. You can just use Python to design all of this. And this is essentially what Gmap and LeafMap is built upon, is to have those widgets. And for every widget, you're going to do something. So if I click, it's going to hide. And if you click again, it's going to show the widget. So it doesn't take too much space. Otherwise, you can have some of the widgets that have many components. It's going to block the map. So this can be super useful. All right, so now we have this toggle button enabled now. The next step we want to do is to, for example, look at the close button, because this is not a toggle button. So if I click this button, it should remove this, basically close this widget entirely. Since this one is a button widget, not a toggle button, so we need the on click function here. So on click, and then have this on click, on button click. Again, the name here doesn't really matter. You just need to use the same consistent name. So when this button is being clicked, we're going to close the horizontal box. That means we basically remove the entire one. And then you're also going to close the toggle button, the drop down list, and also the button. That means it's basically destroying itself. So if I run this one, now take a look. So if I click this, it's going to hide and show. If you want to remove it, click this button. It's gone. So now the widget has been destroyed. That means it's totally gone. And this is essentially how you do all this all together. And let me run one more time because I have already removed all of those. So I'm going to show you maybe from this here. And so I have the button now. Okay. So then you can see everything is functioning. I don't want to close this one because I'm going to use it to add to map. So think about here. This is it's still just a widget. It's a horizontal widget, but it's a widget. If this is a widget, then you can add into iPad leaflet. So the next example I'm going to show you, I'm going to use my package and also use the iPad leaflet widget control. If we have showcased in the previous lectures, you can create a map and you can just create a widget control, put the widget within the widget control and also specify the position. Then you can just use that m.add function to add a control. So take a look at this one. Very nice. So now we have this widget added to the map and it should be functioning. So now the widget, if you click this one, you'll be hidden. If I click again, you'll be showing up. Okay, super cool. And if you are done, you can just remove it. Then it's going to destroy itself. So I can show you if I close it. See, it's gone. But since I'm showing you this example, I need to rerun because all the widgets have been destroyed. So let me run this one more time and then add it to the map. Oh, by the way, so once we have this one to the map, so the next step we want to do is actually to enable when I select the drop down list, it's going to change the base map. So you're going to do the same thing. We're going to design the observe function because it's a drop down list. Observe function, observe the value changes. Then we have this function on drop down change. So if change new, that means if you selected something, so the change new basically is just the value that you select from the drop down list. Then you can grab the value and then call this m.add base map function. So that means whatever base map that you selected, I'm going to grab the selected base map from your drop down list. And then I'm going to call this function called m.basemap because in the previous lectures, we have already added this basemap function because it accepts a string as a basemap into the function. So now take a look with this. I can select the drop down list and click this one. It should change. See, now we have the open topo map added to the map. Also, we can change the area. For example, here we can have the dark matter. If you go back to the previous one, because the base map has already been added, so it doesn't really do anything. You can design the function to make it more robust if you want to. But right now, this is what we can do. So for example, select this and select this, select this. So it basically depends on what you selected. It will automatically update the widget. So in the base map so that you can make changes. Once you are done, you can click this one to hide it. So in this case, it's not taking too much space. And if you need to train again, I can go back and then you can take a look at this one. Check one more time. Like I said, because if all the data layer has been there, it's not going to show again. So if this is something you want, you can certainly remove all the data layer and you can add the data layer again. So if this is what you want, for example, I can come here, I can say map dot layers equal to map dot layers -1. So that means I'm just going to have just one base map data layer. Every time if you select something, I'm going to add a new base map data layer. So in this case, it's always going to be showing you whether the base map has been added or not because it's going to first remove all the data layer, only keep the last one. So let me show you one more time. I'm going to do it like this and I'm going to add this one. So right now I have this, for example, open stream map here. I'm going to add the open topo map and look at this one. So we only have one data layer. If I switch to another one, it's going to remove the open top, the previous map. So interesting. It should remove all the data layer, m layers. Um, Yeah, it's not supposed to add all the data layers. It should remove those. Maybe let me run one more time. It might be because of this issue. So I'm going to go back here and then click this button to run all beneath. Let's try again. And we have this enabled. So now I'm going to select the open topo map. I'm going to select the H3 wall imagery. Okay, see? So now it's actually removing all the data layer. And if I add this one, open topo map. Oops. I think it's open topo map dot map nick. It's not just called OpenStreetMap. So if you click this one, it should be fine. Click this one. So you actually remove the base map. Oh, by the way, to -1, maybe -2. Um, you want to keep one layer because if -1, that means it's going to remove all the data layers. So let's try one more time and see how it works. What happened to this one? Okay. Click this one again. Scroll down. Now I have this. Like this. Also, by the way, it's kind of a bug is that when you select the drop down list, it actually popped to the upper right corner. So this is something with iPy leaflet, not much I can control. Okay, so now every time you select something, you see the base map. All other maps are being removed. Okay, so I can select this, select this, select this. By the way, as I mentioned, the OpenStreetMap should be OpenStreetMap.mapnik. I think it's like NIK or something like this. So let's try one more time. In select. Okay, so let's try one more time. Okay. OpenStreetMap. Right. Let me just clear all the output. Oh, the default value. So right now, because we changed, we also need to change this one. And that's why earlier it showed up some errors. Okay. So if we do this, it should work fine now. So remove, oops, widget is not defined. So we need to define this one. And then we should be able to run this one now. So scroll down all the way to the end here. And run this, that, OpenStreetMap, you see. That's basically the name of the base map, OpenStreetMap. So it total OpenStreetMap dot map nick. So that's it. So now we have base map selector functioning for your package. Although right now we haven't integrated into that, but I just want to show you this is what kind of things you can do. It can be drop down list, it can be radio buttons, it can be tab, it can be anything. So the next step, I'm going to quickly show you how to actually integrate this one into the package so that I don't need to write these so many lines of code. I can just call one function, maybe call add base map GUI, and then you will just add that one to the map. So let me open my package here. Oops. So I'm going to show you how to integrate. First, you do the testing, you make sure everything works fine, and then you eventually want to integrate that one to your package. So let me clear this and zoom in a little bit. So for me, I'm going to make sure that I'm on the main branch and then gig pool. All right, so I'm in the latest branch. Then I'm going to go to this GeoDV map. I have the map class here. And what you need to do is to scroll down here and look at some of the functions. So Control Shift O, you can actually see some of the functions. So I'm going to say add base map. So you can see the add base map function is here, but we want to add a GUI. So add base map means you can provide a base map is going to add something to that. But I'm going to add a base map GUI. So df add base map. You cannot use a hyphen. You need to be lowercase. The underscore base map GUI, and then again self. Also, for the base map, we can just have a position because it's going to be a control. So I'm going to put on the top right corner here, and then well, this is what you need to add is to actually go back to the source code here, and you need to copy everything over. It might take some time, but this is what we certainly need to do. Let me make sure that the IPy widget has been imported. It's not yet. I'm going to import IPy widget as widget. Okay, Control S. Then we can just move things over from here. So the first one is we're going to create um, the toggle button. You don't need to display them. You just copy the code that do something, excluding the visualization. So I'm gonna copy this over, and I can send them, or it might be easier to copy of them. So maybe just create a notepad. Um, maybe Kate, you can open a notepad on your computer, and this I think will be faster. So for me, I'm just going to go to my notebook we just created, and I'm going to show it to the left. I have another one here to the right. So this should be much faster. So I'm going to just copy this portion. This will be the toggle widget, and also need the drop down widget. I'm going to select the drop down widget. Okay, and then it will be the button widget. So these are the all together that we need for the widget, and then we design the horizontal box widget. Okay, and then we design the observe function, so you can just put everything here all together. The next one will be just the button widget. Okay, and then the last one will be the change. So observe change, and that's it. So with this, now you can add the widget. So what we need to do here will be m.add control. So what we need to is basically these two lines call. So we have all the widget and also the observe event. Then we can call this one. The only thing that you need to do is actually, we don't need the layer control because we have another function for that. But we do need this m thanks to self doc something. And that's it. So this is the source code for the entire function. And we can just copy this one and then go to the widget here. And pretty much I can just create a new code block. You can enter. Control V. Make sure you indent all of this into the function. So select all of this, tap, okay, and then Control S. Be done now. Also, because we accept this position, so instead of hard coding the position, now we need to come to this observe function here, change this position to just the position. And you might notice here, right now we have this on drop down change. You see have this layer 1 and 2 and then M. So this is not really you should use self because it's a map class. So just remove everything here from this to self. And that should be it. We can test it if it works or not. Okay, so we have all the widgets and then we have all the events being observed. The last thing one is to basically create a widget control and then add it to the map. So with all that, now we just switch to the notebook here and we can test it right now. Right, so I'm going to just to come back to the end here and then we create a new code block, basically test, oops, testing widget, okay, and then alt enter. So we're going to change this one to Python here. Then we can use import geodv. Okay, this is the name of the package. Then we create a map, geodv, and then display the map. So for now we should be able to call the add base map GUI. So m.add base map GUI. Take a look. Parentheses. Run it. Nice. So now we have this. We can actually make changes easily. It works as expected. So we have this button right now, link with the map. You can also add layer control if you want to see like m.add layer control as well. So if this is what you want to do, you can see the layer control here. Again, super nice. So we have the widget right now interactively controlling our map. And this is something you can certainly do. For the base map GUI here, because we only have this couple base map selected. If you want to have a different list, you can actually customize it. So what I recommend is to maybe go to here, and I'm going to go to this one. So by default, the position is top right. You can add to other position, for example, uh, top left, bottom right, right? So you have four corners. But what I want to show you is like for these options, right now it's very limited. So if you have more options, you can actually provide here. So what I would recommend is to maybe just go here, option equal to none. All right. So that means by default, if they don't provide anything, I'm going to use this as default. So rather than hard coded the base map here, you can copy them and then you can say options. Oops. OPTIONS. Okay. But you do need to at the beginning here, you need to actually define it. So I'm going to say if options is none, then options equal to this. Okay, makes sense? So that means if you don't provide any options, I can just select user this 64. But if you only need a limited number of options or you want a lot more options, then you can provide your own base map. So OPTRONES, yeah, it should work now. So I'm going to come back here, back to the notebook, and let's test it. So here, by default, it should show you all the option OP. Okay, there's a typo here. No wonder. OPTIONS. So OPTIONS. Now it should work. So go back here and restart. Okay. Import the map and do this. Okay. So by default, we have these 4 maps, but you can change it. For example, for the options, I would say um, options equal to, then I can have open topo map, Esri, and maybe I just need 2 options. Okay. So with this, now I can inside here, I can say options here ONS equal to options and run it. Okay. Here typo again. Options. Name options. Okay, here. EI ONS. Run it. Value not found. It's not in where? Oh, okay. So we're missing the first one. Because that's the default value. So we might need to use open street. Oh, no, not because of this. It's because of the default values. So I think we can update it. We don't need the OpenStreetMap if you don't like it. So let me show you how to fix it. The reason for this is because inside the function, we hard coded this value. So options, and then from this one here, the options, the value equal to this one, because we only provide 2 items and that value is not there. So that's why it's throw into error. So what you can do here is to be safe. Maybe just use the options, OPTRONS, and then use the first one. So that means whatever option you provide, the first one is going to be selected as the default value. So in this case, now I should be able to just run this one using just 2 uh, options. So restart and then run this one, run this one. See, so now I only have 2 options, open topo map and Esri. So I'm going to click this one, this. Now the open stream map is gone because I didn't put it in there. But if you want to, I can come here, double quotes, and then comma, then open street, oops, map, map nick. Run it again. So now I have this open stream map. Click this one, I click this, click go back. Interesting. Why it's not showing up? Um, maybe it should be OpenStreetMap or app-based map. Oh, it's because of something like weird thing here, so it should be OpenStreetMap. Anyway, it's not very robust, but you certainly get the idea that you can add as many base map as you want, and you can also provide the option. You can also customize it. For example, I want the position to maybe bottom right, BOTTOM. You can certainly do that. So if you run this one, now the base map widget is something at the bottom right here, but because this is a pretty big one, I usually put at the top right corner. Okay, so this is how you can add any widget to the map, and you have a composite widget, so it's super powerful and it's very easy to get started. All you need to do is figure out what kind of things you want to observe the events, and once you have that, you can add as many widgets as you want to the map. Last one here I want to show you is actually maybe add another function. So because every time if you're trying to add a widget to the map, you need to have this one widget control, and then have the widget inside there, and then set the position. You will need to import the widget. So it's a little bit tedious. What I recommend is just to add another function called df add widget, widget, okay, and then self, okay. Have the widget, have the position, yeah, something like this. So in that way, you don't have to worry about it. You can just give me any widget, and I can add that widget to the map using the widget control, something like this. So let's just control this one here, and now let me go back to the example. So you should be able to see this, like import this, and then add the widget. So I can have another widget. For example, I can have a widget. Let me show you. I can have maybe zoom, okay, slider, okay, equal to zoom dot slider, and then value going to range from 0 to maybe how about this 0 to 24. Okay, so this will be the zoom level, and then the default values I'm going to maybe use 10 or something like that. So once you have this widget, we can display it. So let's say zoom slider, run this. Oops, widget is not defined. So let me come here, import widget as widget. Now it should work. Okay, so I have this button here, or it's just like a little bit too small. So you might want to change the width maybe to 250 pixels. So it should be much wider. All right. So now I have this widget here ranging from 0 to 24. So this one is going to basically uh, control the level of the zoom. And maybe I can also use the style equal to initial. So in this way, we don't have the white space at the beginning. All right. Run this one again. Now I have this zoom level. So what I wanted to show you is like, okay, now we can actually add this one to the map. But in order to do that, we can actually create a function called basically link them all together. So we're going to have the widget dot js link, okay, js link. Then we're going to basically link the slider value with the zoom level. So once I run this one, you will see the changes on the map. Okay, so click this. See, so now the map actually has been changed. So what we can do here is to change the slider here and look at the map at the bottom here. You can certainly see it's changing, linked together, right? So with this, now I can actually add the slider to the map. So what we can do here is just m.add widget, and then just passing the zoom slider widget, and whether you want to put like in which corners of the position. By default it's going to top right, so you don't need to do anything. So run this one more time, take a look. So now we have maybe just remove the layer control, so it looks a little bit better. Okay, so we have this base map selector, but we also have the zoom level. The nice thing about this is just I just call the map.add widget function without doing something else. So if I change this one here, oops, zoom slider add widget, and add the slider. Huh? Interesting. Uh why is not working? Zoom slider. So right now for this one, maybe just use the widget dot link. I'm not 100% sure. So try this. And all right, so this one is not working. Add widget, and then let me see if the function add widget control position. But if I control this one, does it? Oh, it might be because the map is a different map. So earlier when we have this one, if you recreate a map, the zoom level is gone. So what you need to do is to have this one inside your source code. So you need to do it like this. You're gonna create a map widget, and then do it like here, and then use the everything here. Because whenever you recreate the map is overwrite, so the value is not um, accessible anymore. And then m.add widget, oops, lowercase, Then use the zoom slider. So this should work now. So I'm going to just run this one, show you, right? By default, it's zoom level 10. Maybe I can just use zoom level 4, so it's better. Okay. And I'm also going to maybe zoom level 2. Okay. So you can see the global map. With this one, right now, if I slider, you should be able to see the changes. Yeah. Again, the reason why it didn't work earlier is because of this line. So because we recreate the map, so the map is not linked anymore. But right now we are doing that within the map code block, so everything should just work as expected. Right. So this is how you can actually create things and then add it to your map. Add all kind of widget to the map. Lastly, what I want to do here is to push this to my GitHub. So because I already have added all those functionalities, the one more step you need to do is to add doc strings, because otherwise it's not going to show up as a function. So what you need to do is to go select all the stuff here. And if you want to be lazy, you can ask Copilot, say, add Google style doc strings, and hit enter. Just wait for it to do it for you, and then you just copy over the doc strings. Then we can push to GitHub. Okay, so it's running, almost done here. What I need to do is just simply click off this. Click off this. Control C. Come back to here. Control V. And you might need to indent the doc strings. And then Control S. Then we are done. Okay. So with that, now I can create a new branch. So I'm going to go to my terminal. Also, why I have this here. So you can say git checkout SB, and then maybe base map GUI, right? And here I would say add base map GUI function. Control enter. It might take some time because it's running the pre-commit. So if there's anything wrong, it will correct that for you automatically. If there's some other error that it cannot correct by themselves, then it's going to show you the error. This one sometimes might take a couple seconds. So let's just wait for this one to finish. Hopefully, then we'll be done. Okay, so it's done. I'm going to push the branch. Then I'm going to go to my GitHub here. Click this. I'm going to click the button here. Take me to the website. And here, create a pull request. All right, and create pull request. You can see the changes. So there's not super complicated. We just edit just one function, add base map GUI. Inside there, we have a bunch of widgets all work together that allows you to select the change the base map. And I don't think you're going to expect any errors, but I recommend just wait until you see the green check mark, and then you move ahead and merge the branch. Okay, so that's all I want to show you in this lecture. And so now you can think about what kind of widget you want to add to the map. Just use your imagination, and then so only to design the look of the widget, and then you can link an observe function to any widget, or you can use the on-click function to link to a button, and that's it. And then use the H box or horizontal box or vertical box to put all the widgets all together as a single one. And then you can have some button to control what buttons you want to show, what widget you want to show. Then you're going to control the chosen attributes of the container. So in that way, you can hide some of the widget when it's not needed, or you can show some widget when it's needed. All right, so that's all for this lecture. I will see you in the next one.